Nta Abhyas app, Neet physics questions, test 1. After analyzing the 44 questions of the Nta Abhyas app test 1, we have divided the questions and distributed into the respective chapters. So first, the concept will be strengthened through this video, and by the next video, problems will be solved. So it's a 15-day series. Each day, one test will be covered along with concepts and problems. The first test contains 44 questions only instead 45 questions. This is the question distribution. Units and dimensions 2, motion in straight line 3, plane motion in the plane 1, laws of motion 2, work energy part 3, rotational mechanics 1, gravitation 3, solid mechanics 1, fluid mechanics 1, thermal properties of matter 2 questions, thermodynamics 3 questions, oscillations 2 questions, waves 2 questions from 11th syllabus. From 12th syllabus, electric charges and field 1 question, no questions from electrostatic capacitance, current electricity 2 questions, magnetic effects of electric current 3, moving charges and magnetism 1, AC 1, electromagnetic waves 1, ray optics 2, wave optics 1, dual nature of radiation and matter 1, atoms 2 questions, nuclei and semiconductors each 1 question. Though communication is not in the syllabus, the test 1 contains 1 question from communication also. Right. Now let's move to concept strengthening sheet. What is this concept strengthening sheet? Before going to solve the problems, we are going to throw the concept in each lesson. What are all the concepts you must know before attending the test? Okay. So units and dimensions, 2 questions have been asked. The first question is for dimensional formula for resistance. The dimensional formula for resistance. For resistance, we know 2 formulas. R is equal to rho L by A. V is equal to IR. V means potential, I means current, R means resistance. For resistance, we need to find the current. We know that E is equal to dV by dx. E is equal to dV by dx. So based on this, what can we this V can be written as E into X. E into X. And another formula we know, E is equal to F by Q. F by Q. So that's why E is equal to F by Q and X as usual I into R. Now R is equal to F into X by Q into I. R means resistance. We need to find the dimensional formula for resistance. Force means mass into acceleration. Mass means M. Acceleration means LT power minus 2 into X. X means some distance L. Q. I is equal to Q by T. T is time. So Q is equal to IT into I. So if you substitute M L square T power minus 3 I power minus 2. By this way you can find dimensional formula for resistance, or any other way you know. Then this one, surface area of sphere. S is equal to 4 pi R square. So del S by S is equal to 4 pi is a constant, so leave this. So R square can be written as 2 into del R by R. We know that volume of sphere is 4 by 3 pi R cube. So del V by V is equal to 4 by 3 pi is a constant. So 3 into del R by R. Now what is the connection between these two? So del V by V is equal to 3 into del R by R. What is this del R by R? Del R by R is 1 by 2 into del S by S. So 1 by 2 into del S by S. Questions are over. Concepts are over. Problem will be dealt in the next video. Motion in straight line, 3 questions have been asked. Velocity becomes 0, then only it can change its direction. For example, if a ball is moving upwards with initial velocity given u, and finally its velocity has to become 0, then only it can change its direction. Then only it can change its direction going up, and then only it can reverse its direction. At one point its velocity must be 0, then only it can change its direction. Okay, this is very important point. For displacement to be 0, for displacement to be 0, assume this one going like this. At this point velocity becomes 0, then reversing the direction coming to the same point, so displacement is 0. V is first positive, so V is first positive. When displacement increases, velocity is also positive. V is then negative as becomes 0 and then becomes negative. So from moving from A to B, displacement increases, so velocity also increases. Velocity also increases. At this point, so at this point, okay, at this point velocity becomes 0. Then only it reverses direction and come to the same point. So V is first positive. When displacement increases, then V is negative as becomes 0, then becomes again negative, again becomes 0, then becomes negative. At one, okay, next point number 2, at one time we cannot have two velocities for a body moving in one dimension. What is this? So this is a velocity, this is time. So if I draw a graph just like this, so at single time we are having two velocities, this is not possible in moving motion in one dimensions. Next, s is equal to ut plus half at square. This formula has been used in some sums. Okay, these are the 3 points to be noted down for 3 questions. Right, next. Now motion in a plane. So one question, you should know this basic concept. At any time the horizontal component of initial velocity remains same. The horizontal component of the velocity remains same. That is moving initially with the velocity v, and this is theta. What is the horizontal component here? U cos theta. At this point velocity is v and the angle is alpha. So what is this? V cos alpha. The horizontal component always remains same. So u cos theta is equal to v cos alpha. V cos alpha. V cos theta is equal to v cos alpha. Right. Next, laws of motion. Laws of motion, 2 questions has been asked. So 1 kgf, what is this kgf? See, 1 kgf is equal to g into Newton. G into Newton. What is g value? 9.8 into Newton, or you can say 10 Newton. 10 into Newton. I will ask you 100 Newton. How many kgf? 1 kgf is equal to 10 Newton. Then 100 Newton means 10 kgf. 10 kgf. Right. You should know this basic thing. And also you should know this, 1 quintal is equal to 10 kg. 1 quintal is equal to 10 kg. Can say 10 kg. Can say, right. And pulley sum, it's a pulley actually. It's a pulley consisting of 2 mass, just like this. So for this, tension means always away from the object. And if you consider pulley as the object, this is also away from the pulley. Tension is away from the pulley. That is why I have drawn just like this. R is the radius of the pulley. Pulley means what? It's a disc. Pulley is a kind of disc. Right. So torque, tau is equal to I alpha. F is equal to ma. F means torque. M means here I, moment of inertia. A, acceleration. Alpha means angular acceleration. Now torque, another formula is force into perpendicular distance. For disk we know mr square by 2 I. Alpha we know force into perpendicular distance. What is the net force? Assume T2 to be greater. So T2 minus T1 is the net force. What is the perpendicular distance? R. R is the perpendicular distance. For both the forces, R is the perpendicular distance into mr square by 2 into alpha. By this way, you have to solve the pulley sum. Okay. From this, you can find angular acceleration of the pulley. Angular acceleration of the pulley. Next, energy power. So work energy power. So height final is equal to E square into height initial. What is this E? Coefficient of restitution. Coefficient of restitution. Height final is equal to E square into initial height. Velocity after collision is E into U before collision. That is, if a body is striking with velocity U, it comes out or bounces back with velocity EU, because velocity after collision is equal to E into U, that is before collision. Similarly, if a body is falling from height h, on collision this goes up to a height of E square h. E square h. What is that E? Coefficient of restitution, right? Second concept, it is assume a rod is connected just like this or attached to stone, and it rotates in a vertical circle. When it goes from position A to B, when it goes from position A to B, so what is the initially potential energy at the bottom is assumed to be 0. So 0 potential energy 0 plus kinetic energy is what? Half m u square, because it start moving with velocity u. Direction is this direction for velocity, and for energy it's no into scalar quantity and no direction for kinetic energy, is equal to half m. So what is the potential energy at this point? With reference point, this is mg into L. Mg into L is the potential energy, and what is the velocity? Half m v square. So you should know to make this equation, then only you can solve problems, right? Now a mass is there, initially velocity is 0, a velocity is increased to v, right? For the acceleration from initially, that is at time t is equal to 0 to time t is equal to capital T, what can we say? Final velocity minus initial velocity by total time taken, t, right? Now the question is, what is the instantaneous power at time t? So we know that power is equal to formula force into velocity. So this force into velocity in time t, this velocity is not constant. So force means m into a. A we have already found, this is capital T, m into, okay. We know that v is equal to u plus at, because velocity is not constant here, because the body is accelerating, uniformly accelerating. So u is 0, at, so at, so just multiply m into a square t. So what is a square? V minus 0 by t the whole square. So simply what can we say? mv square by capital T square into t. This is a way to express instantaneous power at time t for this body of mass m. Next, rotational mechanics. Only one question was asked. Even this question, pulley sum, this involves a concept of laws of motion and even rotational mechanics. These two sums are clubbed. We cannot separate the chapters. Both the chapters you should be thorough with. Rotational mechanics, two masses m1 m2 are there, and this is a midpoint, this is the midpoint. So you should know this, you should know this equation. m1 l1 is equal to m2 l2. m1 l1 is equal to m2 l2. If m1 is more, if m1 is more and m2 is less, then l1 should be less, l2 should be more, l2 should be more. This is a basic mathematical logics. m1 is more means l1 has to be less, m2 is less means l2 has to be more, then only equality is established. So that mathematics knowledge is applied here. Next, gravitation. Huge questions are asked, 3 questions. So for gravitation, I suggest you to remember this scale. So 1, 0, -1, -2. So 1 means assume kinetic energy, -1 means total energy, -2 means potential energy. So what can we say? Kinetic energy is equal to minus of total energy, because 1 is equal to minus of -1. Right. Now what is the relation between potential and total energy? Total energy into 2, that is -1 into 2 is -2, right? So total energy into 2 is equal to potential energy. This scale is just for remembrance, for just for remembering. There is no any concept behind it. Right. Next, satellite. This is the Earth. This is Earth. Okay. Having mass m. Now satellite is rotating at distance. Okay. Satellite is rotating. This is satellite. This is Earth. At distance r. What is radius of Earth? Capital R. What is this height? H. Right. So you can say R is equal to R plus H. R is equal to R plus H. Now potential energy U is equal to, what can we say? Minus should be there for in gravitation. So minus G mm by distance between them. Small r. Right. Now how can you find total energy from this? What is the establish? How we establish a relation between total energy and potential energy? Total energy is equal to potential energy by 2 by 2. How to get it? You remember this scale. Right. Next. Same satellite sum again, but in different approach. Satellite is moving with velocity v, so you know that this centripetal acceleration is provided by this force of attraction. So mv square by r is equal to gmm by centripetal force is provided by this gravitational force of attraction. So gmm by r square is equal to mv square by r, so root of gm by r. So from this, what can we say? Gm is a constant, v is inversely proportional to square root of the distance between the center of the earth and the satellite. This r means not radius. This r is equal to r plus h. You should be always thorough with small r. Small r is not the radius. For the same satellite, time period t is equal to 2 pi r by v. Right, 2 pi r by v. So now 2 pi is a constant, so t is proportional to r by v. So what is v? You know that v is inversely proportional to root r. So root r goes up. So what is this? R into root means what? 1 by 2. So same base, you can add the powers. So 1 plus 1 by 2 is 3 by 2. So t is proportional to r power 3 by 2. Now dimensional analysis, del t by t is equal to 3 by 2 del r by r. Error method. Now solid mechanics, for it's a fact based question. For materials like aluminium and copper, bulk moduli is first. See, bulk moduli is the only moduli defined for solids, liquids and gas. Then comes Young's moduli value, then comes shear moduli. Young's moduli and shear moduli defined only for solids. So it's a basic fact. For materials like aluminium and copper, bulk moduli value is more than Young's modulus than shear modulus. Right. Now fluid mechanics, only one concept. Even in Neet 2020, a question has come using this formula. H is equal to 2t cos theta by rho gr. H is equal to 2t cos theta by rho gr, not simply r, rho gr. Okay. Now height of rise in capillary is inversely proportional to radius. Radius means what? So I put 2r. 2 is again a constant. So 2r is diameter. 2r is diameter. If height is inversely proportional to radius, means the same height is inversely proportional to diameter. Okay. So rise in capillary is inversely proportional to diameter. Now thermal properties of matter. So you should know these basic formulas. From current electricity also you could have learnt it. R is equal to, that is resistance, is equal to 1 by conductance rho L by A. R is equal to rho L by A. This rho can be written as 1 by K. Rho means resistivity, K means conductivity. Formula you should know. V is equal to IR. V is equal to IR. Here A means area of cross section, not the not simply area. A means area of cross section. So their potential, now instead of potential we use temperature represented by theta. Their potential difference, their temperature difference. So we can say potential is equivalent to, so potential in current electricity is equal to temperature in thermal properties of matter. So it's a compound slab, two compound slab just like this. It is thermal conductivity is K, and for this 2K, same length, same cross sectional area. This is the cross sectional area, same for both, right? Now for series from current electricity we know R equivalent is equal to R1 plus R2. Now for thermal properties of matter we know the relation R is equal to 1 by K into L by A. Simply, no need to remember anything. 1 by K into L by A, right? So R equivalent means for the entire, what is the entire length? 2L. So L means here 2L by K, we don't know. So K equivalent into area of cross section is same. Same area of cross section. Area of cross section is same for the entire conductor. Length means 2L, right? So again for R1, for the first part, L, length is L by K into A. Area of cross section is again A. Next part is also length is L, but what is K? 2K. 2K into A, right? So we can strike out all L and A. So 2 by K equivalent is equal to 1 by K plus 1 by 2K. From this we can find K equivalent simply. So simple. If you know the formula of current electricity, you can simply employ it here. Nothing new to learn. We are just making a copy of current electricity concepts. Next concept, heat gained is equal to heat lost. So MC delta of cold material is equal to MC delta of hot materials. Q, heat means Q, which is equal to MC delta. This is a basic formula. See, cold material will gain heat, whereas hot materials will lose heat. So based on this concept only, this formula has been formulated. Now thermodynamics, three concepts are there. So what is the graph? Velocity, temperature. So what is constant? Volume is decreasing. What is constant? Temperature is constant. So volume decreasing means compression. It's isothermal compression. So what is so volume and temperature is increasing regularly, having its initial point at the point of origin when we extrapolate. So it is isobaric. Volume is increasing or decreasing? Increasing. So it is expansion. Here volume is constant. So isochoric, and temperature is decreasing. Temperature is decreasing. If you want to draw the pressure graph for this, pressure also decrease, because we know that pressure is proportional to temperature, right? Now this graph, isothermal, Boyle's law. Pressure is inversely proportional to volume. Now next concept, PVN is equal to constant. What actually this is? Polytropic process. Polytropic process. More frequently these questions have been asked from this third point. So PVN is equal to constant, n may be either positive or negative. Now tell me n for this V cube. Sorry. Now what is the n value for this? So I have to rewrite it. PV. Bring this P by V power 4. PV power minus 4 is equal to constant. So what is n value? Minus 4. Like this you have to bring. So PV n power n is V power n is equal to constant. N is either positive or negative. Now what is this Cm? Molar specific heat capacity. Molar specific heat capacity is equal to Cv. Cv means two things are there, na? Cp, Cv. In that Cv you are taking Cv plus R by 1 minus n. How to remember this? R by 1 minus n. Remember Roman. R by O means 1, M means minus, N. R by 1 minus N. So remember Roman. Cm is equal to Cv plus R by 1 minus N. It's a very, very important formula. This question is frequently asked. Now work done is important is isobaric process. P del V is equal to Nr del T. P del V is equal to Nr del T. Work done in isochoric process, P del V is equal to 0 because no change in volume. No change in volume. Your pressure is constant, volume is changing. So we know PV is equal to nRT. So P del V is equal to nR del T. Okay. So volume is constant means work done is 0. Work done isothermal process. Work done in isothermal process is nRT log V2 by V1. V2 by V1, you can say V means final volume, it is initial volume. Or you can say P1 by P2. Anything you can use V2 by V1 or P1 by P2. Next, oscillations. Two questions. We know that kinetic energy is equal to half mv square, and in oscillations you should know this formula very well. V is equal to omega root of a square minus x square. Omega means, what is omega? Angular velocity, or you can say frequency. Angular frequency. So a square minus x square. A means amplitude, x means position. Position at some time t. So use this formula, half m into what is v square? Omega square into a square minus x square. You know the total energy is always constant. Kinetic energy varies. Potential energy also varies. But total energy is always constant at each and every point. If a body is oscillating from here, at each and every point, total energy is constant. But not kinetic energy and potential energy. So these three basic formulas you should know. Total energy constant means it should be a square because A is constant. X should not be involved in total energy because X is variable. So a square. Potential energy means half m omega square x square. Right. Next, F is equal to kx. So k means force constant. This formula you know. Omega square is equal to k by m. This formula also you should know. Know the total energy is equal to half m. What is total energy? Half m omega square a square. So half m. What is omega? K by m. Omega square is k by m. So k by m into a square is equal to half into m cancel k into a square. This is constant. What does it indicate? Total energy is independent of the mass. No mass term is involved. Though it seems m comes here, when you substitute omega square or when we expand the omega square, the final equation does not contain the mass. Total energy is independent of mass provided for same amplitude. For example, a body is having mass m. Its amplitude is a. What is total energy? Half m k a square. Right. K is constant, right? And the body is 2m and the amplitude is same a. Total energy is again constant. So it is independent of mass for the same amplitude. This is only known when you expand the omega square. Without expanding omega square, you would be thinking total energy depends on mass. No, total energy is independent of the mass for same amplitude. Now third, you know that in motion in a straight line, average velocity is equal to total displacement by total time taken. Assume this is a mean position. So it is first a body goes like this, half of the amplitude, then reach the extreme position, then come back to again half of the amplitude, again mean position, negative half of the amplitude, negative amplitude, again negative half of the amplitude, again to the mean position. This is one oscillation. This is only one oscillation, right? The time taken to go from mean position to half of the amplitude is t by 12. T by 12. From half of the amplitude to amplitude extreme position, it's t by 6. Again t by 6, t by 12. Then from mean position to negative half of the amplitude, t by 12. It takes t by 12. From here to negative extreme, t by 6. Again t by 6, t by 12. Then only it completes one complete oscillation in time t. Okay, this is only, so this is mean position, half of the amplitude, amplitude positive extreme, negative half, negative extreme. Now tell me, what is the time taken to go from mean position to half of the amplitude? T by 12. Right. Next, waves. Velocity of sound is inversely proportional to square root of, sorry, is directly proportional to square root of temperature. It is independent of the pressure, P power 0. Velocity of sound. So 11 syllabus, all questions have been covered. I will move on to 12th syllabus. Electric charges and field. So one question has been asked. So this is a cube and this is a charge, uniformly distributed charge. Not uniformly distributed, some charge is there, and we are putting it in a cube of side A. Phi is equal to q net by epsilon naught. You should know volumetric charge density. Volumetric charge density means rho is equal to q by v. What is rho? Volumetric charge density. Q by v. So what can be written? Q can be written as volumetric charge density into volume. So volumetric charge density into volume. So rho into v by epsilon naught. Rho is constant, epsilon naught is constant. What is volume for the cube? A cube. Now the same charge inside the sphere, inside this sphere of radius A. So q net by epsilon naught. So rho into what is the area of the volume of the sphere? 4 by 3 pi A cube, because radius is given A. So what can be right? Phi dash is equal to 4 by 3 pi into phi, not phi dash here. So phi dash is equal to 4 by 3 pi into 4, because rho A cube epsilon naught is phi. So rho A cube by epsilon naught is, this is not phi dash, it is phi. So 4 by 3 pi into phi. Right. So phi dash is equal to 4 by 3 pi phi. Next, current electricity, two questions has been asked. Right. A conductor of length L. So what is the formula? R is equal to rho L by A. This assumes, I am saying it is 36 ohm. Okay. So R is proportional to L. Now this conductor is made into shape of a circle. So this L becomes 2 pi R. 2 pi R is equal to L. This length L, we are using the same wire to form the circle. So 2 pi R is equal to L. So 2 pi R is proportional to same 36 ohm. This L is equal to 2 pi R. So 2 pi R is proportional to 36 ohm. Now I am making 2 points in that circle A and B, making an angle 30 degree with the center. Now what is this length? 30 by 360. This into 2 pi R. Like this only you should make, you should find the length of the AB. The part AB, 30 by 360 into 2 pi R. So what is 30? Pi by 6. 360 means 2 pi into 2 pi R is equal to 1 by 12 into 2 pi R. So 1 by 12 into what is 2 pi R? Is proportional to 36 ohm. So you say 3 ohm. For the remaining part, it is 30 means for the remaining part 330. So 330 by, what is the remaining length? 330 by 360 into 2 pi R. Here R means radius. So 330 by 360 into 2 pi R, you will get 330 by 360. So 11 by 12 into 2 pi R. What is 2 pi R? 36 ohm. So we'll get 33 ohm. Right. Now you have to consider this as one part and this as one part. And I'm forming the circuit. So A point, B point, this 3 ohm here and 33 ohm here. Both are in parallel because having the common potential AB point. This part is also having AB and this part is also having AB. So it is parallel circuit. So 1 by R equivalent is equal to 1 by R plus 1 by 33. Next concept, cells in parallel. So two cells are there, E1, E2, R1, R2. You should check whether the cell sends a correction this current in the same direction. Yes, it sends a current in the same direction. Then you can obviously use this formula. E1 by E effective is equal to E1 by R1 plus E2 by R2 by 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. 1 by R2. Very, very important formula. More questions will be asked from this point. Then R equivalent. Suppose if they are asking R equivalent means R1 R2 by R1 plus R2 parallel because parallel. Suppose if it is given like this is R1 R2. How to find RE effective? E1 by R1 minus E2 by R2, but here only minus 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2, because for parallel we always add. Here only you should bring minus. If suppose if the terminals are just like this, because this sends a current, this sends a current in this direction, this sends a current in this direction. So 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. Here also 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. Why? Because it is parallel, right? Same direction current means here positive symbol. Opposite direction current means here negative symbol. Only upper part sign should be changed, right? So magnetic effects of electric current. Okay. First, mathematics knowledge it involves. For a square, assume for a square, right? So I'm dividing the square at the center of this is the center of the square, and I'm dividing the square into 4 parts, just like this. Now, what is the angle? So, what is the total angle around this point? 360 degree. 360 degree. And for this part, how many sides? 1, 2, 3, 4. So for this part, 360 by 4. What is 360? 2 pi by 4. 360 means 2 pi. So 2 pi by 4. Similarly, for this part, how many sides? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So how many parts I am dividing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 part. So what is the angle subtended by each part? 360 by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How much part I am dividing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what is the angle subtended by each part at the center? 2 pi by 5. That is 360 by 5. Similarly, for a polygon of n sides, we don't know whether it is a pentagon or hexagon or heptagon or nonagon or octagon having n sides. Now, what is the question is magnetic field due to one side of magnetic field at the center due to one side of the polygon. This is having n sides. So this is a one side of the polygon. So what is the angle subtended by one part? 2 pi 360 by number of sides n. Okay. Now I'm dividing this into two. This diagram. Okay. This diagram. So 2 pi by n can be written as 2 pi by n can be written as pi by n pi by n. And this is the radius r. If suppose this is if a circle is drawn keeping center at this point. So if suppose a circle is drawn keeping center at this point, and this is the radius r, this is also radius r, like that. You remember radius r, and this distance, this point, and from this point is given small r. Now what is a magnetic field due to this finite wire carrying current I? Mu naught I by 4 pi r into sin theta 1 plus sin theta 2. So mu naught I by 4 pi r into, it's just like this, theta 1 theta 2 carrying a current I. For mu naught I by 4 pi r sin theta 1 plus sin theta 2. What is sin theta 1? Sin pi by n plus sin pi by n. So 2 into sin pi by n and you have to proceed further. So like this only you should be able to divide. Okay. Okay, then this carrying current in the same direction means attraction. Carrying current in the opposite direction, different direction means repulsion. So this will attract. Same direction means force on the conductor 2 by 1. It attracts it. The 1 will repel it away from it. So 1 will pull the 2 towards itself. 1 will push the 2 away from itself. Why? Because current direction is important. Same direction means attraction, otherwise repulsion. So it's a formula you should know. F by L is equal to, L means length of the conductor. Length of the which conductor? The force experienced conductor. Length is L of this conductor. F by L is equal to mu naught I1 I2 by 2 pi d. 2 pi d, right. Similarly, you can say mu naught I1 I2 by 2 pi d, but direction is different. Here this direction, here this direction. So this formula you should know, and you should know to apply a left hand thumb rule. Your thumb points in the direction of force. Your forefinger points in the direction of magnetic field, and your middle finger direction of motion of charge. You should keep your finger just like this. You should never change your finger position what I have drawn. You can simply tilt this. You should not move your fingers. You should simply tilt your whole hand for keeping the direction. Then only you will get correct direction. So you should know this: magnetic field does not exert force on stationary charge. Magnetic field exert force only on the moving charge only. And also you should know this rule: for a positive charge, keep your middle finger points in what? Direction of motion of charge. Keep your middle finger same as the direction of motion of charge. If a positive charge is moving like this, you have to keep your middle finger in the same direction. But for negative charge, if a negative charge is moving like this, means it is actually moving like this, means you have to keep your middle finger opposite to the motion of charge. If a negative charge is moving like this, means you should keep your finger in this direction. For positive charge, you should keep your finger in the same direction, but for negative charge you should keep your finger in the opposite direction. If it is moving, negative charge is moving like this, means you should keep your finger this way. Then only you will get the correct answer. Right, next. Okay, magnetism. For electromagnets like soft iron, high retentivity, low coercivity. Retentivity means even after reducing the magnetic field, even after, it's a graph between B and H. What is the relation? H is equal to B by mu, right. This is the retentivity. This is coercivity. For electromagnets, retentivity should be high. So higher retentivity and lower coercivity. So lower coercivity. You should check this. What is retentivity? Even after demagnetizing it, it holds some magnetic field for some time. Then you have to reverse the magnetic field, and you have to apply a very small reverse magnetic field to demagnetize it easily. That is coercivity. So you have to apply a very small magnetic field to demagnetize it. So even after making H is 0, B exists. B exists. That is the retentivity. See, at this point, H is 0, but B exists even though. That is retentivity. It retains some magnetic field. Then we have to apply the H in the opposite direction. Even you apply a very small, it magnetizes very easily. For the very small H applied, reverse H applied, B becomes 0 at this point. That is the coercivity that should be low. Right, next. AC. So impedance triangle, XC minus XL. How to remember this? Cell C followed by L. XC minus XL, here R, this is Z. Z means impedance. So it is impedance triangle. So apply Pythagoras theorem. XC minus XL the whole square plus R square is equal to Z under root, right. Then tan phi is equal to XC, tan phi is equal to XC minus XL by R. Okay, power factor cos phi, power factor means cos phi is equal to R by Z. Okay, next. Now electromagnetic waves, for a point source we can draw a sphere because it emits light in all the directions. So intensity, intensity is inversely proportional to area. You can make sphere for the point source. What is a formula for area of the sphere? 4 pi r square. So 4 pi r square for point source. We know that I is proportional to amplitude square. So amplitude is proportional to root of intensity. So root of intensity means here root of r square. So root of r square means r. When it goes up, it becomes r power minus 1. From this, you can know that amplitude is proportional to r power minus 1. For this relation, you should know all these things. Now for ray optics, two sums, two concepts. This is an object inside the water having refractive index mu, and the above side is air. So this is emitting a light. Normally, it goes without any deviation. When it emits a light, the light like this. Okay, when it emits a light along this direction, it grazes over the surface between the water and the air. So at angle C only it grazes over the surface. The C is called as critical angle. The C is called as critical angle, and the angle of refraction is 90 degree. 90 degree, right? If this is C means alternate interior angles are equal, this also should be C. This is the only thing in mathematics. So tan C in this triangle. So in this triangle, tan C is, this is R given, this is D given. So tan C is equal to R by D. So mu1, okay, this is one formula. Normally you can say mu1 sin theta 1 is equal to mu2 sin theta 2, Snell's law. So mu into sin C is equal to 1 into sin 90. Right, next. Prism. So prism, for prism, this is a prism. So I is the incident angle, R1 is initial angle of reflection, refraction. R2 is for emergent angle of reflection. This is angle of prism. Del is okay. A ray is coming like this. The ray is going like this means this ray actually should have gone like this, but instead of this, it is going in this manner. Now this is the angle of deviation that only I have drawn here. So you could remember easily. Exterior angles is equal to interior angles. What is exterior angles? I and E. So I plus E is equal to A plus del. I plus E means exterior angles. I plus E is equal to A plus del. A and del. And A is equal to R1 plus R2. Easily you can remember these two formulas. Exterior angle is equal to interior angles. I plus E is equal to A plus del. And A is equal to R1 plus R2. And I and E should be always made with the normal. If a ray is incident like this means, okay, and this is the normal means, this is the angle of incident. This is the angle of incident. You cannot claim to be this is the angle of incident. This is wrong. The I or E is always made with the normal. Here I and this is E. This is E. Right, next. Wave optics. Huygens principle explains the concept of reflection, refraction, diffraction. It's a statement based question. Huygens principle explains the concept of reflection, refraction, and diffraction. Dual nature. E is equal to nh nu. Nh nu means c by lambda. Right? So n means number of photons. 1 Armstrong is equal to 10 power minus 10 meter. You know this. Now, atoms. So what is this? Wave number is equal to 1 by lambda is equal to R means Rydberg constant into 1 by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square into z square. It's a very good formula for solving number of questions. For hydrogen, z is equal to 1. For helium plus z is equal to 2. Some people will think that 2 minus 1 is equal to 1 and put z as 1 and get the wrong answer. So that is very, very wrong. For helium, z is equal to 2. For lithium, Z is equal to 3. What is Z? Atomic number. Atomic number. Helium plus means you're removing electron, not number of protons. So keep Z to be 1 for this, 2, 3. Don't see the charge, see the atom. Helium plus or helium, okay. Even Li3 plus anything, you see the atom and put the Z. Okay. Next concept, Rn, this formula based radius of the radius in the nth orbit is equal to epsilon naught n square h square by z e square pi m. So all these are constant. Rn is proportional to n square and z, n square and z, right? So binding energy or total energy, you can say. I think this question was asked in Neet 2019 Odisha, right? The binding energy, even I will say binding energy is inversely proportional to radius. If you have found radius, the binding energy is or total energy is inversely proportional to radius in that nth orbit. So otherwise you can say it is inversely proportional to 1 by n square. 1 by n square, because r is proportional to n square. So you can say total energy is inversely proportional to 1 by n square. Would have known it. You should have known this formula already. So what is the product of this Rn and binding energy? You are multiplying this. So this is proportional to n square, and this is proportional to 1 by n square. So n square cancelled, and this becomes constant. What is the value of that constant? You know the radius is 0.53 Armstrong for hydrogen, and binding energy is minus 13.6 electron volt. Right. Now nuclei chapter. This is the parent. This is daughter. This is helium. It is at rest initially, so it is V1. After collision, after emitting the alpha particle, it is moving with V1. It is moving with V2. So 0 is equal to, so law of conservation of momentum, right? M1 V1 plus M2 V2. You know P is equal to MV. So shall we say it as P1 P2? And you should know this. Kinetic energy is equal to P square by 2M. So P is equal to root 2M kinetic energy. Root 2M kinetic energy. So root 2 m1 kinetic energy 1 plus root 2 m2 kinetic energy 2. They may give you kinetic energy 1 and they may ask you kinetic energy 2. Right. Semiconductors. So P, see always, this symbol always points out from P to N. If P is connected to positive terminal of the battery, then it is forward biased. If P is connected to negative terminal of the battery, then it is reverse biased. For forward biased, ideal diode is short circuited. What is the meaning of short circuited means? You're connecting the wire and putting it like this. So you can redraw just like this. Simply remove the diode, that's it. That is short circuiting, right? The ideal diode is short circuited. So I is equal to V by R, Ohm's law. V is equal to IR, I is equal to V by R. What is V? 10. What is R? 5 ohm, 2 ampere. For reverse biased, the ideal diode is open circuited. So at this point, the diode becomes open. How to redraw this? So here it is open circuited. So current is 0 for open circuit. Right, next. Communication chapter, though it is not in the syllabus, one question has been asked. The process of superimposing signal frequency, that is audio wave, on the carrier wave is known as modulation. This question definitely you won't get any question from communication. Right. Now we have revised all the concepts in complete syllabus of 11 and 12 for Nta test Abhyas physics 1 test 1, and the questions will be dealt in the next video. For that, you should subscribe and press the bell icon to receive the notification. And your doubts could be posted in comment sections. Thank you.